Remember, all prices are in Canadian dollars. Use the promo code SOR2019 to make that happen. Hi, gorgeous Tiffany. Good to have you back. Michael Lastuka. Good Ukrainian name. Welcome to the show. A good way to support this show, everyone, is by hitting that subscribe button. You know, Super Chat is open. Give us a thumbs up. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Go to facebook.com/SOR Vault. Here we go with the show, everyone. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning in to us tonight. We welcome you to the show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Jerk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. An experiencer and an author, Alan Wright's true experiences can be displayed as a passive medium and healer. A major interest in the paranormal, Alan tells in his books that he's written of the dark side with hell, demons, and internal suffering, as well as his journey back into healing, the light, and understanding what is actually on the other side. He has written Through the Veil and Back, Chronicles of a Healer and Passive Medium. It's a bestseller on Amazon. And At the Edge of Infinity, A Healer's Journey. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Alan Wright, it's been a long time since we've had you on Spaced Out Radio, but darn it, we're glad you're back. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just fine. It's good to be back, too. I enjoyed the show last time.
Absolutely. We're glad you're here, too. You know, for people who may not recognize who you are, what your books are all about, let's learn a little bit about you. How did you get started in this entire paranormal field?
Well, actually, I was born with these abilities. I got them on my mother's side of the family. My mother had them, and my grandmother had them. They used them basically to, for warnings for the family and stuff like that, And I remember my grandmother and my mother telling me stories about things, paranormal that happened to them, and things that they foresaw things that happened to the family members. Some of them, like my great-grandmother, she too had those abilities. And but anyway, when she died, excuse me, when she died, my mother actually had a dream that night that she died, and she said that she saw a black carriage with a coffin in the back end of it, like an old-time hearse, with horses pulling it, and she said the horses were black also, but it stopped in front of my great-grandmother's house, and then all of a sudden it took off again. So she knew her great-grandmother had died even before her mother did, I think, but she knew it before. When they told her, she already knew it. But that's where I get my abilities from. It's on my mother's side of the family. I remember one time, as a kid, I had a dream that I went into. I didn't know actually what it was, but it turned out to be a funeral. And I was up front towards the casket, and I looked in the casket, and there was a woman laying in it. She had snow white hair, just pure white. And she had a jet black dress and a white color with a collar that had like a flower embroidery around it, around the neck of it. And but anyway, that's about all I had, was just a brief glimpse of this funeral. I was over at my grandmother's house one day, and I was in the living room, and they had a mantle with pictures on it and stuff, and I walked over to see what pictures she had on the mantle, and it was there was a picture of this woman with this bright white hair, and I asked my grandmother, I said, "Who is this?" And she said, "This is your great-grandmother. She died a couple of years before you were born." And I really believe that my great-grandmother placed that dream in my mind, so I would question it when I did see it in my grandmother's house. And I actually think and before that I had seen her and probably had some type of relationship with her before I was born in the pre-existence. So she wanted to make sure I knew who she was, and I did. And she was a great lady also. But she had abilities also. So anyway, that's where I get my abilities. As I get older, they get stronger too.
Alan, let me ask you this. Growing up in a household where this is the norm is not normal to a lot of other families out there. So when you were growing up and understanding that this was the way life was, what was it like for you to find out that not everybody had the same abilities you and your family did?
Well, for one thing, when I went to school, I found out that I should talk about spirits and seeing ghosts and stuff like this, because I became a laughingstock. So I learned very early not to say anything like that, and I did. I kept it basically a secret through grade school, through high school, and even in my adult life, I kept it as a secret because for my profession anyway, because I was in management, and I couldn't go around and tell workers or customers and stuff like that anything about ghosts or, pre-existence and stuff like that, So I pretty much kept it to myself. But when I retired, I decided that I was going to come out and let everybody know. There's members of my own family that didn't know it. And so they were I'm sure they were pretty surprised too when they saw my books and stuff. But everything in my books are true. Yeah, they're true events and things that happened to me in my life. And but anyway, that's about it. I'm trying to think of. Would you want me to tell you when I went and saw my grandfather? That's actually...
Yeah, fill us in.
Well, I was about 33, 32 years old, somewhere in that area. And I was born in 1949, so you could do the arithmetic, but
71.
My grandfather died. I'm 71 now. My grandfather died in 1982, and he was really a father figure to me, more of a father figure than my own father was. And during my childhood, my grandfather and I did things together. It seemed like I was over there at their place all the time. And so when he died, it left a big hole in my heart, And even though I was raised in a Christian home, and I was taught, you go to heaven or to hell, stuff like that, I wanted to know where he actually was, And I was worried about that, actually, to tell you the truth. Well, one night I went to bed, and some people call it an out-of-body experience, or near-death experience, but what I had was none of that. And I finally called it astral projection. I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. I'm forgetting. But anyway, I had an astral projection, and in this projection, I went to see my grandfather. First off, I was hovering over my body in a room in a hospital, and I was up in the corner of the room by the ceiling. And I looked down, I saw my body, and there was a doctor and a nurse standing there, and they were talking back and forth to each other. And I saw my body, and that was quite a shock to see my, it would be if you saw your body, and you realized you were dead. But anyway, about that time I was thinking about that. All of a sudden I started going through the ceiling, and I was going up. And I kept going up, and I went through the roof of this hospital. And it was nighttime because it was dark out. And I could see the lights of the city, and I thought that was quite neat. And there was a baseball field or something pretty close to the hospital. And the lights on the field was there, and they were playing baseball, and that was pretty cool too. But I was going up, and I kept going faster and faster, and I was going up faster and faster. And pretty soon I was up in outer space, and I could look down and see the earth. And I thought to myself, what a beautiful thing that is down there, the earth, with clouds and the blue oceans and everything. It was quite pretty up there. But then I thought to myself, but how ugly it is down there with the wars and the murders and the rapes and everything going on down there, even in politics. It was just nasty. And this voice came to me, just went right through my brain, in one ear and out the other, it seemed like. And it said, the earth is fulfilling the purpose for which it was created. And I thought, if you stop and think about it, that's quite a sentence. For one thing, I learned that the earth was created. And another thing was it was created for us because we're down there, and it was created and fulfilling that purpose. And then another thing is what am I trying to say? But anyway, it was created for us. And if it was created for us, then that's the purpose the earth had. And that's the reason why it is the way it is. And no other body in this solar system looks like the earth. It's totally different. Anyway, as I kept going up, I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about my own death, actually. I figured since I was going up, I was going to heaven, but I wasn't quite sure. And I was kind of fretting about this, kind of worried about it. And that voice, and I was wondering about my sins, if my sins had been forgiven or whatever. And this voice came back, and it said that you are where you're at today because of the choices and the things that you did in your lifetime. And so that's the reason why you're at where you're at today.
I gotta ask you about that, because a lot of people
Sure.
have had religious experiences like this, where they are taken and shown, whether it's the world being made or the world coming to an end. When you go through something like that, and many people have not, I would say the majority have not, how does it change the way you attune your life?
Well, that's a life-changing experience, Dave, to tell you the truth. I mean, here I am. I'm in outer space, basically. My spirit is. And here's this voice talking to me. And it had to be coming from someplace. The only thing I can think of, it was a higher power. And might not be God, but it was probably one of his angels or messengers or something. But they were speaking to me at that time, and they were speaking truth to me. I knew it was truth because they went right straight through my body. So I don't really consider it a religious experience. I'm not really I'm not really for organized religion. I think organized religion itself is suitable for people who want to do that. That's the reason why we have so many denominations. You kind of shop around for churches until you find one that kind of meets your needs or whatever. But I'm not that way. I believe in God. I believe in that there was His Son, Jesus Christ. And I think I saw one of them on this astral projection later on in the story. And so, I tell people what I saw and what happened to me on this. Whether they want to believe it or not is up to them, but
right.
It did happen.
It's tried and true for you, Alan. And,
yes,
I mean, I'm here to say that I know you a little bit. I believe your story. And I believe your story because I've had strange things like that happen to me as well. And when you go through that and when you live it, you want to get the message out to everyone, but not everyone is going to respond the way you would hope. I mean, you've had your fans, you've had your critics. How do you stay on an even keel?
Well, I revert back to that, what I went through in that astral projection when I went to see my grandfather, because like I said, there was a lot of truth in what I saw there and what was spoken to me. So always revert back to that. I've been called a devil worshiper. I've been called, I've been told that I worship the devil, and, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. Just because I don't go to church doesn't mean I'm a devil worshiper. Everything I do, one reason why I wrote the books is so I could get my story out there and let people read it. Through the Veil and Back is this story that I'm telling you right now. And it's life-changing experience. If you go through it, you would know what I'm talking about. Can you hear my dog sneezing?
No, but if he does, give him a treat.
Yeah, really. She's over here sneezing, my little chihuahua.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, as I was going along, that voice came back to me and told me, I was where I was supposed to be at that time and everything. And I got the feeling that the reason why they told me that is a lot of your sins are for you pay for those sins here on earth. You make a bad choice, for instance, and then you believe in karma, don't you? I know I do.
Somewhat.
Actually, I feel that a lot of the sins that you do here on earth, you pay for. Now, the more violent ones, the more awful ones, like murders and rapes and stuff like that, I think you're going to stand before God and you're going to answer to that. I really do. Because I know there is one. I don't say that just because my priest tells me that or, whatever. I saw it, and I know there's a place that's good, and I know that there's a God there because I saw it. And my grandfather was very religious when he was living, and I think that's one reason, too, why, a lot of times people, they have their loved ones come to them in spirit sometimes. But my grandfather didn't come to me. I went to him. That's total reversal. That's quite a change. And I think he did that on purpose just so that I would have this life-changing experience. And I could tell people, Plus, it really helped me out because now I know where he's at, and I know he's in a great place. And I know that I could go to the same place. But anyway, let me finish my story, or you can cut in.
No, you go ahead. We got 4
minutes.
We got 4 minutes till we go to break at the bottom of the hour.
Okay, I heard. But anyway, I kept going up and up and up, I was among the stars, and I didn't realize that the stars are different colors, but they are. And at this time, I started worrying about my family, what they were doing since I died, how they were going to support themselves, and how they were going to make do. And that voice came back to me again and said, they have to do the things that you do, make the same choices you did, so they could be in the same place that you are today. They have to make choices as far as stumbling blocks and stuff like that, how to live their lives and live it in a way where they could be where you're at this time. So anyway, I had that to think over, and we kept going up, and I'm telling you, we're going fast. I mean, really fast. All of a sudden, the stars became streaks. We were going so fast. And then all of a sudden, I saw this little pinhole light in front of me, just like a near-death experience. But I saw it, and all of a sudden, we started slowing down. As we slowed down, so this little pinhole light kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, we went into that light. And when I hit that light went straight through me. It wasn't a normal light bulb or something like that. This thing went straight through me, and it searched out every corner of my body, everything, nook and cranny. And it was love, compassion, charity. It was all those good feelings wrapped up in this light, and it just shot right through me. And I did not want to leave that light. I would have done anything to stay in that light, but that wasn't to be.
Do you call that a near-death experience, though, with about 90 seconds, or do you call that just a projection of reality during your astral travel?
I think it was just probably it's hard to say. I can't put my fingers on it. Astral projection is about as close as I can get to it, because I was not near death when this thing happened, And an out-of-body experience usually stays on Earth. They don't go anywhere. They don't leave Earth, They go out in the backyard or something like that, or down the road a bit. But this was something else. But anyway, I saw this guy, and he's sitting on a rock or he's sitting on something, and he had long hair, and he had a white robe, he had a beard, and he looked like how people would describe Jesus Christ. But he was sitting on this rock, and all of a sudden I blacked out, or my mind was erased, my memory was erased, because I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember approaching him very close, but I knew this light was coming from him. And I'll testify that to the day I die. The light was coming from this guy, and if he was an alien, then so be it. I want to be just like him, because he was all intelligent. He was all that in a bag of chips, as they say.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's about the first part of the story. If you want to break down or something, but when I woke up again, when I started remembering, I was in a field. It was like a meadow or something.
Well, let's pick it up right there in the field, because we do have to go to break, Alan. Here at the bottom of the hour, author, experiencer, Alan Wright. I'll tell you, we're in for a treat tonight, everyone. Great stories from Alan Wright coming up next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, Alan, we're clear.
Okay.
Yeah, now we just kind of hang out for a couple of minutes and go from there. That's what we do. That's how I like it.
Hope I'm not boring you.
No,
you probably
man.
Heard this before.
Not at all.
But I think it's pretty important for people to know, a lot of people, especially with this COVID-19,
yes.
there are a lot of single people when they're quarantined. They're by themselves.
Oh yeah.
And they have nobody. And suicides are up, murders are up, abuse, and families is going on, domestic, and I think a lot of times this story would help them to realize that there is something after this life. And when you die, you go to that place if you've been halfway decent on this earth. And I think it's very important to know. A lot of people says, what's this life about? Why are we here? Well, it's like a test. You come down here, you receive your physical body. You were a spirit and pre-existence, and you get your body. And you have to learn how to use that body and how to make choices and stuff like that. And it is a big test.
Oh yeah.
It's to strengthen your spirit also, because if you didn't have this experience, you would not know goodness from bad. You would not know. There was opposites to everything, because in the spirit world is totally different. So having this experience, when you go back, even though you're in spirit again, you had that experience, and you know what to do once you go back. Your spirit is strengthened, and you go back with more knowledge than when you left. And I think that's quite an important message to have. That a lot of people, too, commit suicide because of drugs or something like that. It's very important to realize when you pass through the veil, committed suicide, you still have those wants and desires that you had on Earth. If you were addicted to drugs, you're still addicted to them when you pass through the veil. That does not change. And then you have to become unaddicted, because there's none of that over on the other side.
Right.
So you have to become addicted before you move on, actually.
Very
Same
true.
way with cigarettes.
Very true.
Same way with cigarettes. And so,
let's see.
Anyway,
that's good info right there.
Yes, it is. How much time we got?
We have about just under 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, but if people realize that if somebody was going to commit suicide, that if they knew that and everything, it might change their outlook on life, a little bit. Even if they realized that they would have the addiction, even if they were addicted to something, they would have to, even on the other side. And it's pretty important to know a lot of this stuff. I think that's one reason why I got these abilities, is so I can tell people. I can tell them what it's like on the other side of the veil. I can even now tell them what it's like in hell.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. I don't want to give up too much juice here during the breaks here.
Yeah, really, huh? But anyway, that's the main part of it that I think. I've had my wife and I both have had a lot of experiences. We used to live in a haunted house, and there's so much stuff we lived through and went through and lived. There was evilness in this house that we bought. It expressed itself in big, ugly, fat flies that flew around the windows. And
Alan, give me 2 seconds here. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the thumbs up. Super Chat is open. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with author Alan Wright, Paranormal Experiences. What is it like to deal with everything from God to the devil himself? And Alan, we welcome you back.
Thank you.
Now,
Good to be back.
Right before the break, you were telling us a story about whether or not it was, possible to say you were having a near-death experience, or during this astral travel, you were shown something very profound.
I was definitely being shown something that was very profound. I know even near-death experiencers have the same thing, really. But mine went on even more than what they do. But after I went through the light, I woke up in this field. I call it a meadow. There was tall grass there. And I was laying down. I don't know how I got laid down, who put me there or anything. But when I woke up, I kind of was gathering my thoughts and stuff. And I could look up and see the sky, and I saw birds flying up there. I could hear wildlife in the forest that was by this meadow. There was a forest and a dirt trail, and then the meadow. And anyway, I heard water in the background, like a creek or a brook or something. And anyway, I started to stand up, and when I did, I realized that I was in a circle, middle of the circle of people that was around me, and they were about 6 to 8 feet from me. But anyway, I realized that all these people in this circle were my relatives or close friends even that had passed on before me. But my attention was to my grandfather, who was standing directly in front of me. And we started exchanging, he was telling me that he loved me, and I told him I loved him. But we didn't use our mouths. We could do this telepathically. And I felt like I could use my mouth if I wanted to speak, but I didn't have to. And he was the same way. He just told me everything telepathically. And we expressed our love for each other and everything. And I just realized that there was flowers there, and they're just beautiful. Everything in this place is perfect. And it looked just like Earth. The only thing is, this place was perfect. And I didn't realize, I'll finish my story to this point. And that's all I remember was my grandfather and I's expression our love for each other. Except towards the end, him and I was walking along that path next to this forest, and he was telling me things, but I couldn't hear what he was saying, and it was almost like I was third party watching this happening. But anyway, he was telling me things, and all of a sudden this astral projection stopped. It just stopped. And anyway, I woke up, and I thought, I felt like I was glowing, like I was just stood before God or something. I had this feeling that it carried on for almost 2 weeks like that. I had that feeling. And but it was something that it was hard for me to explain, and I could not explain it to anybody. But anyway, I understand that. I was listening to this gentleman on this radio show once, and he said that Well, I learned that they don't have time there. There's no time. So they can manipulate time for their own purpose. They can stretch it, they shorten it, they can do whatever they want with it, but they themselves don't have to live it. They don't have time. But anyway, I find everything that I started after this projection, I started picking up things in my mind, educational things, and more experiences that I had there, which I did not remember at the time. And every few years I would get a little niblet or tidbit of something that happened on this astral projection. And the only thing I can think of is that stuff was being released to me at a little bit at a time, so I wouldn't freak out. If I came back from that place and had knew everything that I do now about that place, I probably would have. Everybody thought I was crazy and put me in an insane asylum or something. But I felt that was the purpose. I found out that there's 9 levels of heaven, if you want to call it that. I actually feel they're like different dimensions or something like that. They could be different planets. But anyway, each one is a different level of heaven. And where my grandfather was and where I went, that was the lowest place on heaven. By the way, I do believe the Bible's true. It's a history book of things that happened, and I do believe it's true. And in the Bible, it states when Jesus was being crucified on the cross that there was 2 thieves that was on their crosses also side by side. And one of them said to Jesus, if you be the Son of God, why don't you come off that cross and help us also to come off the cross? And anyway, the other guy, though, that was a criminal, a thief, he said that, remember me this day in your kingdom, Lord. And Jesus said, you would be with me this day in paradise. Right. And I think that place, what Jesus was describing, was not heaven. It was, as he described it, as paradise. And that's where my grandfather is right now. And the purpose of these 9 levels of heaven is, as we learn about the laws and regulations of the universe, as we learn this, we can move up those different levels of heaven until we get up to the top. There's also passages in the Bible that says, we can become like him. Well, how can we become like him? Well, that's by studying and doing the things that we're supposed to do so we can go up those different levels of heaven. Now, like I said, I saw 9. There could be more than 9, but I know there's no less than 9. So there could be probably as many as 12 or 15 different levels we'd have to go up. But I did see 9, so that's all I'd say, 9 levels. But anyway, I've also learned that God made family units. There's animals that's in family units. We're in family units, and we're come down to this earth in family units. And we actually, when we go back to our ancestors who died before them.
Very cool. Alan, you also had some very dark experiences. It's almost like you were shown the light, but you were shown the darkness as well. Compare what you saw in the light compared to when you had that very evil, omnipresent energy around you.
Yeah, well, as I said, when I was in the light, it was love, charity, compassion, all those good things, vibes going straight through my body. Well, several years after that, I went to bed. Well, it about 20 years after that, as a matter of fact. I went to bed, and all of a sudden, boom, it was just like what happened to me when I saw my grandfather. I was on this, I didn't go anywhere as far as I know. I just flashed forward, and I was on this dirt trail. But this place I was at was not anything like where my grandfather was. This place had all the bad feelings. It had fear and hatred and regret and all those things rolled up in. Like that light, these feelings went straight through you also. And as I was looking at this path, it was bigger than, you could probably drive a car on it, but it was a dirt path. And as I started walking, I realized that there was buildings on both sides of this path, and there was no light. It was total darkness. All I could see is some shadows and stuff. But these buildings were there, and I could see that there was windows in them as I got closer to them. Then all of a sudden, I realized there was something behind me. And I glanced behind me, and there was 3 or 4 shadow people, and they were just running back and forth behind me, and they acted like they were trying to find out who I was or what I was doing there. But I kept walking along, and all of a sudden, I came to this bend in this path, and it curved off to the right a little bit, and there was it looked like an apartment building, but there was no lights on inside these places. You know, I had a listener to one radio show I did when I said that. He said, well, could it be jail cells, where the spirits that were real bad was put in these buildings and those rooms, and that's where they have to stay. And I thought, wow, I never thought of that, but it could possibly be that. And but anyway, all of a sudden I saw this spirit, and he was around the corner of this building, and he was motioning for me to come over to him. And I stepped forward a little bit to the edge of the trail, and he said, no, further. And I stepped off the trail just one step, and he said, closer. And I said, no, I'm close enough. I said, what do you want? Well, in the course of the conversation, I found out that he was the husband of a lady I used to see years before that. I'm a healer, and she used to call me once or twice a week to go over to give her a spiritual blessing. And when I did, her headaches would go away and relieve her for this pain for a while, which she really was appreciative for. But her husband was something else. He never said hi. I could tell he didn't like me. I think he thought I was a fraud or something. And he would open the door for me so I could go in, but that was about it. And then he would go off into the bedroom, someplace in the house. But this is who was calling me over to him. And I said, no, what do you want? And he said he would want me to give him a blessing so he could be out of that place. I said, I can't do anything for you. I said, you're the one that got yourself in this. Now you have to get yourself out. And I said, I don't even want to tell you how you got to do that. And then he said, well, can you give me a blessing to relieve the pain? And I told him, I said, no, I can't do that. I don't have any powers here. And come to find out, though, he was fearful. That was his main thing. He was fearful because he had killed somebody in this life, in his life. And he was afraid that guy he killed was there with him now. He was afraid this guy was looking for him. So that's part of hell. it had to be hell. It couldn't have been anything else. But there was no fire, no brimstone, anything like that. But if you were there, you would feel like you were in a fire and brimstone with all those emotions and all these feelings going through you, hate and fearful and all that stuff. But he was afraid that that guy was going to come beat him up or try to kill him or something again, which wouldn't happen. But anyway, that at the moment I said no, I couldn't help him. I was awake back in my bed. Now, that experience was just the opposite from when I went and saw my grandfather. I had those same feelings that was down there for a while. And you could ask my wife. I started, snapping her head off. I had anger issues, all kinds of things, during this about 2 or 3 week period. And I was finding out that I had to give myself blessings, just trying to get rid of those feelings and stuff. Finally, they went away, and I was able to return to myself. But that place there, I found out that there's 5 levels of heaven, or of hell, I'm sorry. There could be more levels than that, too.
How were you able to find out that there were 5 levels?
Well, when I came back, I just remember seeing those things there. Almost the same way as when I came back from when I went and saw my grandfather. I remembered seeing things there, but did not remember seeing them as I was there. And that's the same thing here. I saw 5 levels of hell. Now, I don't think there's any more. And I also was told that once you reach the top level of hell, they can work themselves out of hell, but it's really hard. The Bible says hell is everlasting, and for some of them, it probably is everlasting. But some of them will be able to repent and do their time, I guess, if you want to call it that, and move up to different levels of hell. And then they might cross over to the heaven side and be in paradise, but I don't think they're going to go too far up on the levels of heaven. But I wasn't really explained that. I just was told they could work themselves up and go over to the heaven side of things. But that was about it. I wasn't told too much about hell other than that. It's a place you wouldn't want to be. It's a place of chaos, a place where the people was all the time fearful that somebody was trying to get them and stuff. And I had the same feelings. Now, when I looked at the place, I don't know what happened to those shadow people that was following me, but I believe they left just before I did. Somebody asked me what shadow people are. I had a definite feeling that they were probably not from this earth. I also had a feeling that they did not have human bodies, that their bodies was darkness, and they were evil. They came from a place that is evil, and I don't know where that is at. But that's about all I saw and heard on the hell side of things. But that's it. In my book that I wrote, my 8th book, I think it is, Called to Hell, Called to Heaven. And I go over both of those things in that book. But what else can I tell you? Is there anything when
you were in that visitation of hell? We all think of the screaming, the yelling, the pain, the fire, the brimstone. Is that all artistry and conjecture, or or what was it like visually?
Well, for me, there was no fire, no brimstone. It's just the atmosphere down there. Plus, it's pitch dark. And there was a lot of screaming and yelling and stuff. Like I said, it was a place of chaos. And you have this going on all the time. And you feel like you are in a place of brimstone and heat, a lot of heat. But to me, it wasn't hot. It didn't bother me that way. The only way it bothered me was through the feelings that I got from that place, and I know they had those same feelings going straight through them. I was talking to you during break about people that smoke cigarettes. When they die, they're still going to have that craving for cigarettes, that addiction. Same way with drugs or alcoholism. So if you commit suicide for whatever reason and you're addicted to these things, you're still going to carry that addiction with you when you pass through the veil. And that's an important thing to realize, because a lot of people, because of this COVID-19, is suffering from addiction and loneliness because they're in some form of quarantine or whatever. Or, they haven't gotten a paycheck in months. They're threatening being kicked out of their apartments, or for whatever reason they lost their jobs. And the suicide rates are up. And it's important to know that if you commit suicide, now I'm not saying you won't go to heaven. I've never said anything like that. But when you do pass through the veil, you're going to carry those same feelings and everything when you pass through, and especially those addictions. You're going to have those cravings when you pass over. And I was told it's harder to quit those cravings, to get rid of them in spirit when you pass through, than it is in your physical body. And you know how hard it is in your physical body to quit smoking, for instance, which I did. I was 30-some-odd years old, and I quit smoking. And it's a job. I went cold turkey, and I felt like I was going through hell. And I can't imagine what somebody was on drugs, heroin or whatever, go through the veil and not be able to quit the way you could here in this life. You could do it, but it's going to be much harder. That's what I was told.
We've got about 10 seconds here before we got to go to break, Alan. I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to step out at the top of the hour here. Author, researcher, medium, clairvoyant, a man of many hats, many titles, Alan Wright is with us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking everything from God in heaven to the devil in hell and every paranormal creature that goes boo in our face. Yes, that's what we do here on Spaced Out Radio. We are going to bring Alan Wright back. We're going to find out some paranormal experiences that he's had, along with a lot of the research he's done for many of his books, which can be found on Amazon. Alan Wright, everyone, on Spaced Out Radio, as we continue with Hour 2 of this great show next. All right, my friend. I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best-rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get bumblefucked?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Russell. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some fake
For just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe.
All right, I am back.
Okay. I had to take a break, too, so I'm back, too.
That's good. That's good.
Get my throat unplugged.
All right.
Hey, Dave, is your mother still living?
Yes.
Well, I got a spirit that came in when you were on break, and she identified herself as your mother, but if your mother's still living, then this must be a grandmother. She presented herself, as a mother type.
Oh, cool.
So this must be grandmother. I think it's on your mother's side.
Okay, cool.
If you want me to, I can tell her.
We've got about 90 seconds. What's she saying?
Well, she's telling me to tell you that she loved you when she was alive here.
That's cool.
And that she's. I guess she died when you were young.
I was
15. Said that 15. Well, she said she's sorry that she couldn't stay longer. And she's talking about a dog. Did you have a dog when you were younger?
Yes.
Around 15?
Yes.
Yeah. She's talking about that dog. I can see that dog now. It was a dark brown.
Yep.
It Yeah, it was a dark brown, and she's showing that to me too. She's telling me to tell you that she's one of your guardian angels, Dave.
Oh,
so
cool.
when you pass over, when it's your time to go, she'll meet you there
Good.
and help you acclimate on the other side of the veil.
Thank you.
So you're going to be met by your grandmother and your grandfather. He's coming into the picture right now, though, but he's not saying anything. It's your grandmother that's talking. But she remembers the things that you did and stuff when you were a kid, and she just wanted to come and say hi and that she loved you.
Wow.
And she's also around you at times.
Very cool.
And yeah, and she's watching over you.
Hold on, my friend. Here we go. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I'm your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. I want to say a hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. And also, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, once again, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Tapatediment. I don't even know. What is this? Topodiment. One of those. The Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Alan Wright is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Kind of cool. Right before the break, right before we came back, you were telling me through intuition that my grandmother came through to you.
Yeah, she's still here. She's sitting right beside me here. Like I said, she's showing me things that you did when you were younger, when she was still alive. She's just now telling me that she was sick for a while before she died, and that's one reason why she doesn't really remember, you at 15. She remembers you more like around 10 years old or so. So anyway, she did say that she remembers your dog, and it was dark brown. And she said that she loved you, and she's around you all the time, and that she's one of your guardian angels. And I've seen that a lot, that family members become like guardian angels of their family when they pass over. And that's just the family unit thing again, too. It's
right.
Just the family taking care of family. But, yeah, she's telling... She kind of... Did you want me to ask her a question for you? Or?
Well, you know what's weird is the fact that of anybody you would pick up, it would be my grandmother, because her and I were not exceptionally close. Once again, she passed away when I was 15, and both my other grandfathers who are now on the other side, one passed away in 1995, and one passed away, I believe, in 96. They have come to me before, especially my grandfather on my dad's side, who I was very, very close with. And the only time my grandmother came to me was 2 years ago when my nephew passed away from a fentanyl overdose. And and I was quite distraught because I could feel my nephew's energy and couldn't figure out what was going on with him. So my daughter and I astral traveled to find him. And we found him in a park because he passed away in a park. We found him in a park, and he was sitting on a bench, kind of like a park bench, and right behind him were my grandfathers and my grandmother standing there beside him.
Oh, I did that.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, and that was the only time that I had ever seen my grandmother in anything spiritual or on the other side. So the fact that that you picked up my grandmother, it's actually quite like I'm feeling giddy inside because I didn't, be damned, Grandma. My grandmother made the best lazy man cabbage rolls, and believe it or not, outside of the love and outside of the Christmas gifts and outside of everything, that is the one thing that I totally remember about my grandmother was these lazy man's cabbage rolls that she would make. And my mom has tried to make them.
Something we were going to get into next. She was showing me a kitchen, but you came back just as she was showing it to me. So, she's laughing too because she was going to talk about those cabbage rolls. You just didn't give her time, Dave.
No,
anyway.
that's very cool. But I can tell you, my mom has tried to make those cabbage rolls many a times, and every time my parents come up here, she brings the cabbage rolls. And I'll tell you, as much as I love my mother's cooking, they are nowhere close to being the same of my grandmother's. They had that grandma's touch to them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she wanted me to tell you that she loves you, and she's backing away from me now, but she says that you're going to feel her presence around you at times, and she's going to be more dominant on the right side. She'll pass you close on the right side, and so forth. And when they get close to me, usually I get goosebumps, or I get a cold feeling on my arms or wherever they're at. But she told me be looking for it because it's going to happen. They don't tell me lies. That's one thing. When you pass over, the lies are something for the other side, for the hell side. They don't tell lies over on the other side, and that's where your grandparents are at. They're over on the good side, like my grandfather. I told you your grandfather came through, and I was thinking that he didn't say anything, but I was thinking that he was on your grandfather's side because he wasn't real close to your grandmother when she was speaking, and he didn't offer to speak any, He was letting her do the talking, and it was more like she was in control. And maybe that's why he came to you before, and he was allowing her to get her 2 cents worth in, so to speak. It was her turn. But anyway, she told me that she was sick for a while, and that she actually was sick for about 2 years. She showed me there for a while.
Yes.
It finally got the best of her. But she said she was sorry that she had to go and couldn't stay longer.
Wow.
She would like to see you grow into a young man, she said. But anyway, he said she'll be with you when you pass over, when it's your time. Don't go out and commit suicide now, Dave.
No, not doing that. Not doing that at all. Alan Wright is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Alan, you've dealt with a lot of paranormal experiences over time and had a lot of spirits come up to you and chat with you and kind of look for direction. Yeah. How lost are a lot of these spirits when they cross over?
There's a lot of them, surprisingly. They die, and some of them don't realize that they're dead. A lot of times they pass over and they want to give their families a message or something, and they feel like they can't go until they receive that message, their families. And it's like I've even told a few of them, see the light, and they'll say yes. Now I'll say, go to it. I go to the light, and I've seen them go to the light, and then I don't see them anymore after that. So I've helped a few of them cross over. The main reason why they stick around is because of their families, and a lot of times they have messages, and that they feel that they need to get a message to their family, whatever it might be. And then after they give that message, they feel free to go then, But in your case, your grandmother's your guardian angel, so I don't know whether she chose to stay behind until you pass on, or whether that's just part of the calling that she has from birth, or, in the pre-existence. But we as a family was together in the pre-existence. Have you heard the term old soul or an old spirit? I'm an old soul, and I got a feeling you are too. My wife is an old soul. But in the pre-existence, us old souls, that's what we are. We're probably thousands of years old, our spirits are. And what we did in the pre-existence was prepare our families one at a time to prepare them to come to this earth. And that's what we did for our families. And then when it came our turn to come, we came to earth. But it seems like we have more knowledge than some of the spirits do. We have a respect for the earth. We don't like hurting the earth. A lot of times you'll find an old soul that don't like to hunt or fish because you're hurting wildlife. You'll find a lot of these old souls, they're empaths, and they don't like to hurt animals or anything having to do with the earth. Let's put it this way, sometimes they even know things that other adults or people don't know. Being an old soul is pretty special because it was you that helped your families come to earth, and it was you that helped them learn what they should do when they came to earth. If they forget it when they got here, and then that's not your fault, but it's quite neat to realize that you had something to do with that. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that.
No, I think that's fantastic. I really do. I think that's fantastic. When dealing with paranormal experiences such as spirits coming up to you, are they, and I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly, when someone passes away and they cross over, some go straight to the light, some kind of wander around kind of in a daze. Maybe they don't know that they have passed away as of that point. How do they find you in order to, or even other psychic mediums, in order to communicate and find out what's going on?
I'm going to tell you right now, Dave, my wife is also a medium, and we have spirits around us all the time. All the time. What your mother did, she came over towards me, and I basically called her over closer. She came over to my side. But there's a crowd of spirits around me all the time, and they're around me because they know I can talk to them and they can talk to me, and that's the main purpose. And I think a lot of times in the spirit world, a spirit that's lost, like you say, wandering around, they see a crowd of spirits around somebody. They probably know that that's a medium and that they can talk to them or whatever. And that's how they find me and other mediums, good mediums, the ones that's, honest and doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's how they find us. Those spirits, they're pretty smart on the other side. and it doesn't take them too long to find us. I know that. Like I was telling you, I've sent quite a few of them into the light, and I help to, help them to go into the light. And I've been there, so I know what it's like, and I know they're not coming back. I will never leave that light. So I know they're at the place where they're supposed to be, and they're having fun, and it's very peaceful and relaxing over there. But anyway, you have another question? You want me to tell you another story?
Yeah, tell me a story here.
As a kid, like I said, I really didn't talk about spirits and stuff like that because I didn't want to be, mocked or made fun of by the kids and stuff. So I didn't tell people some of the things that happened to me. But when I was about 5 or 6 years old, I woke up one morning and it was just getting sunrise. And there was this elderly woman standing at the foot of my bed, and she was looking towards the window in my bedroom. And she just stood there and just was looking out the window. And I didn't know. That was, I think, my first apparition that I had ever seen. I kind of covered up my head and just peeked out at her, And she didn't make any movement at all. She just stayed there and stared out the window. But then as the sun came up, she just disappeared. She went gone, But that's probably my first real dealing with an apparition, a ghost, if you want to say that. I wasn't really a medium per se until I was much older. I knew I had spirits around me, and I knew that I heard things, and I knew they were speaking to me, but I really didn't know how to react to it. And it wasn't until about 2015 that you called me a passive medium. And a passive medium is one that can hear the spirits, sometimes can see them, but they don't have communication with the spirits per se. I couldn't do readings at that time. But as I told you, my abilities become stronger as I get older. And within just 3 years after that, I was a full-fledged medium. I mean, I could communicate to them, I could see them, and so that passive medium now is ancient history for me. I'm actually a spiritual psychic medium now. I put that spiritual in it because that's what I am, and a psychic. I can tell you something about your future without having a spirit tell me what's going to happen. That's the psychic part of it. And a lot of times when I'm on I'm a co-host on Crossed Over Connections on Sunday, and they call in and get free readings. And a lot of times, most of the time, I don't even call a spirit to come out of the veil because I have the ability, psychic ability, where I can tell them about future jobs or future lovers and stuff like this. And I don't need their grandparents over telling me to tell them that, because I already know. But anyway, that's about it. As I got older,
yeah,
when I got married, and I bought this house, my wife and I did, and it was in Sunny Slope in Phoenix, and it was on Dunlap Avenue in Phoenix, and we bought the house. I didn't feel anything in there, and I didn't see anything in there when we moved in. And this was before we moved up to Utah, of course, and I wasn't really a full medium at that time. But anyway, so we went ahead and moved in, and about a month after we moved in, I started having like nightmares at night, and I would have the this creature would run up and just scream and screech in my ear. And it was so loud it woke me out of a sound sleep. And I sat up in bed with my fist clenched. I was ready to do battle with somebody, you know. Then I realized that, you know, it was just this thing that yelled in my ear. And the thing looked like the Wicked Witch of the West. She had a pointed nose, and she had scraggly hair and a long, skinny face and beady eyes and spindly arms, you know, real thin. And she looked like, you know, a witch or something. But anyway, come to find out, that place was haunted, and what it was a creature. And we blessed the house later on after we found some other things. And she was one of them that left. I was able, but that's in my book number 3, I believe it was. And it's called, the chapter's name is Banshee on Dunlap Avenue. And that was just one thing that happened to us in that house. My wife said that, she says, I see something in that hallway when we turn off the lights at night to go to bed. She said, I see something in that hallway. It looks like shadows moving back and forth. I said, oh, you don't either. And I glanced over there, and sure enough, there was about, maybe these are the same shadow people that followed me to hell or whatever. But there was about 3 or 4 of them. They were going from wall to wall in that house in the hallway, and they go right into the wall and then come back out again. But they kept looking at us like they were trying to see what we're doing or something, and they never tried to do anything to us. So I didn't really care about that too much. I guess I should have. Well, yeah, the Banshee ran up on me, but
how does a Banshee run up on you?
She was on some type of ground or something, but she just ran right up to me. Yeah, it's kind of floating type thing, but she ran. She ran like a scalded cat or something, and she come right up to my ear and just screamed right in my ear when I was sleeping. Of course, I didn't see her when I woke up. She's in another dimension or something, but yeah, she did a number on me. But there was other things too. I came home from work one night, and there was these flies, these big old fat, disgusting flies in our windows in the dining room and the living room area. And I thought, what in the heck? And there was hundreds of them. And I didn't know what to do because I couldn't use poison in the house because of our dogs. So I started hitting them with a fly swatter. Fortunately, I killed every one of them. But it took me like a couple of hours to do it. But every night for, every night for like about 10 days, I think it was, where I was killing those flies. And every night I had to sweep them up with a dustpan, put them in the garbage outside. But anyway, what's funny, we were sitting there watching TV, and we had a big screen TV. All of a sudden, we saw these flies flying in front of the light on the TV.
Well, let's continue with the flies when we get back here. Alan Wright is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Paranormal, clairvoyance, mediumship, all night long on the mighty SOR tonight. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear, man.
Okay, great.
All right, yeah, Alan, we need to know right off the bat here, our audience needs to know, what's Alan's opinion of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
I love it. I love it. I sometimes eat breakfast foods for dinner also.
Oh, Alan, they're breakfast foods for a reason. That's why you have dinner foods and breakfast foods.
Yeah, but you can eat them anytime. sometimes I have a steak in the morning for for breakfast. But eat what you want. I'm 71 years old, and I followed that. Eat what you want, anytime you want.
My goodness. My goodness.
Was that a listener that?
We ask every listener that, or every guest that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just yesterday I had what was it? It was rice checks. I had rice checks for dinner last night. If you like it, eat it.
I don't know. I got this weird thing going on, man. Weird thing.
What do you mean?
Just if it's a breakfast food, it's labeled for a reason. Labeled for a reason.
That's true, I guess.
Except bacon. Bacon is universal.
I can't stay within the lines, I just can't do it. When I was young and coloring, I just couldn't stay in the lines. It's the same way now.
You're trouble, man.
I don't.
You live on the edge.
Yeah, I do. So does my wife.
Good.
She's a pretty good medium herself, but she likes to stay in the background. She don't want to go on radio shows, but she helps me out on crossed over connections because she sometimes she gets the same readings as I do, but she picks up on love connection ones.
Very
she'll
nice.
Pick up on things like I don't pick up on, and so she gives them more information than I do.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's great to marry a person that does the same thing you do, or at least understands it. Because if you marry somebody that doesn't understand it, then you're in trouble. She didn't know it at first. I told her, I said, "You're a medium also." No, I'm not. And then she starts telling me stories. Yep, you're a medium.
We have just about 2 minutes here. 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
I once told this lady on the radio. She called in. She was crying and carrying on. She says, "Mr. Wright, do you think you can help me?" And I said, "Well, I'll try." I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "I've been to a psychiatrist, and he can't tell me what's wrong. All he wants to do is give me these pills, and they make me feel like I'm dead on the inside." And she says, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "Well, do you hear voices from people that's not there?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you see things that's not there, or people that's not there?" And she said, "Well, yes, I do." I said, "Well, you're not crazy. You're just a medium." I said, "What you need to do is find somebody that has your abilities like you and just talk to them and find out how you can use them for your benefit."
Right.
And once they understand what they are and they're not actually there to bother them that much, then you can find a way to control it, And anyway, as soon as we were about ready to hang up, and she says, "Thank you, Mr. Wright, so much. You helped me so much." You could almost see the smile on her face, and she was real calm at the end of the call, because I told her she wasn't crazy. And I told her, I said, "You need to get off those pills." All she is a medium. She sees people and she hears voices. She says, "But I've seen some things, Mr. Wright, that make you, I don't think you saw," or something like that.
Right.
Hold
on a second here, my friend. Hold on, because we're going to get going right now. tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We're glad to have you tuned on in. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with our deep conversation with Alan Wright, author, researcher, paranormal enthusiast. He's also a medium, intuitive, clairvoyant. Are there any titles that I'm missing here, Alan?
No, I think you got them all. Oh, I am a minister, by the way. So if you want to get married sometime, I can do that ceremony.
Well, I have no plans for that. No plans for that. But
no plans for that.
No.
Anyway, that's about the only thing I don't really put on my resume. But I am a minister. But I'm a non-denominational minister, if you want to call it that. But anyway.
I want to ask you, in regards to helping spirits, how many of them actually cross over or ask to be crossed over?
In my dealings, when I've talked to them or whatever, like when I'm on the show there, none of them has ever asked me to cross them over. But when I do private stuff, they come up to me, and that's when they ask or they let me know that they want to be someplace other than where they're at right then, And that's when I tell them first they're dead, and that's the reason why they're confused and everything. Then I tell them, I said, is there a light where you're at? And they'll say yes, most generally. And I just point them at the light. I said, you see that light? Go into the light. And I said, that light won't hurt you. That light is love and compassion. And usually they just like run over there, ready to really be in the light and not where they're at that time. So I would estimate probably half of them that I deal with. The other half, like I said, they're here because they want to give their family a message, or they're just there because. I don't know why. There's a lot of spirits that's just here. They're like earthbound, and I don't know the reason for it a lot of times. There's no explanation. I don't have one for it anyway.
All right.
They don't ask. They don't ask to go anywhere.
Let's hook up with Becky here in Manitoba. Manitoba Becky is asking. She goes, I want to know how you know a spirit is talking to you. Do you hear a voice out loud? What does it sound like in your head? How do you know it's a spirit talking? Do they identify themselves?
Well, in the beginning, it was just I could hear a voice and I could feel them, and that was part of the reading also. I could feel what they were wanting also. But anymore, I can actually see the person, and they show me things like your grandmother showed me that dog that you had when you were about 15 years old, and even showed me the color of it. And so they show me pictures. And I was doing a reading for one guy, and on a radio show, and this poor guy, he was so lonely. Almost his whole family had died, even his wife. And anyway, I brought up his brother, and his brother kept holding up a picture of a little fat kid with chubby cheeks and everything. And I asked him, I said, what's a picture of a kid with chubby cheeks? And I said, he's grinning. I said, do you remember anything like that? And he said, at first he says, no. And I said, well, he keeps putting that picture up. Your brother does. And he says, well, that's my other brother. That's my younger brother. He said, finally, And so, like I said, they show pictures. They show me things when they're not only talking, but I can see them and they show me things. And I don't know what happens if I get any more stronger. Of course, by then I'll probably be too old to do it anyway. But yeah, it's pretty neat. Did you say her name was Sarah?
No, Manitoba Becky.
Manitoba Becky. Well, thank you for the question, Manitoba Becky. But you yourself could probably become a medium. I feel that you have abilities and that you're able to do some of the things that I do. I think all you have to do is just concentrate on them a little bit, and you could become a medium quite easily because I feel that you have those abilities. So I just wanted to tell you that, Becky.
All right, let's move on to G-Girl in our YouTube chat room. Why do I sometimes hear several voices in another room, yet when I go in there to see where that noise is coming from, it stops?
Well, the only thing I can tell you is you got spirits in that other room, and they are talking. They'll talk back and forth to each other. I don't know why they do it, other than, to make it where you can hear them. But yeah, they do that quite often. You can hear somebody in another room and go in that room. There's nobody there that you can see. The room's probably got several people in it, but they're spirits. I hate to call them ghosts. That's kind of derogatory tone, but they are spirits, and they just quit talking, so you can't hear them when you come in the room. Yeah, my wife reminded me that my mother is in this home that we have right now, and her dog, and we have another dog spirit that's in here. I think it's my dog that I had when I was about 30 years old, a little Chihuahua, long hair. But anyway, I keep hearing my name called. It is her. I heard it outside once. I've heard it several times in here, and I was coming from the bathroom over to the bedroom where Lori was at, and as I passed the door into the living room, a crazy dog was barking at me. And I thought it was one of our dogs at first. And then I glanced over on the bed, and all three of them are on the bed. And I'm going, whoa. I said, Lori, was one of our dogs out in the hall just a minute ago? And she said, no. I said, well, it must be my mother's dog then, because it was barking at me. I thought it was one of ours. But, yeah, what it means you have spirits in your house. And if they're benign, you can leave them there if they're not hurting anything. Or if you need to cleanse your house, if you don't want them in there, the best thing would probably to get some sage. And you being a human being, you have authority over spirits, and you can command them or ask them to leave sternly and use sage. Spirits hate sage. They just hate it. And they'll run from it. So if you sage your whole house, they'll leave. And that's probably what you want to do. Myself, I kind of say a prayer, and I tell them in the name of Jesus Christ to leave. And I've always blessed my home that way. But you really don't have to, because you have authority over spirits. And if they're not evil, usually I just leave one alone. Like my mother, I know she's here just to be here. She where he says to make her life miserable. She has the mother-in-law even in spirit form. But we don't mess with them if they're benign. We feel that.
How do you tell the difference between a benign spirit and one that is more positive?
Well, a spirit that's more positive, sometimes they'll start moving things around, and that's a poltergeist, actually. And I don't even really know if that's a true spirit or if it's just a force of some kind. But anyway, there are bad spirits, evil spirits, and they tend to do things to hurt humans. And they'll set traps. They'll do things to hurt human beings. And I lost my train of thought. But anyway, a benign spirit won't do that. Now, you might hear your name called, or you might hear them talking, but they won't throw things at you, for instance. They won't do anything that irritates you. That's a benign spirit. They just live in the house or in the room, and they're just there. That's all. That's where they probably got to spend most of eternity. But you have the power to get rid of them if you want to.
Now, you've mentioned a couple of times about, even with Manitoba Becky there, that a lot of people can figure this out on their own. What's a training exercise or something that a person could do in order to get themselves back in or reconnected with their spiritual help?
Well, I found out when I was younger just go into a room, a quiet room, shut the door so nobody can come in, and just meditate. And you don't even have to think about anything. Just let your mind be. And if you are a medium, those spirits will talk to you in that state. And you'll be able to communicate with them that way, through your mind or through feelings, even like I used to do. I still get the feelings quite often, even now. But just do that and do it daily. And you'll be able soon to find out who the spirits are that's in your house. And if they're not bad, I wouldn't mess with the bad ones anyway, just the good ones. If they're benign, you could basically ask them to leave. And they probably would. Just like I said, you have authority over spirits. But, that's the best way to do it. If you know of a medium someplace in your neighborhood, you might drop in and just start talking to them and see how they did it. And they could even help you with it if you feel you have some abilities.
Okay.
Anything else, Dave?
Is it a matter of just meditation in getting back in touch?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like I said, if you're a medium, you got spirits around you all the time. You might not, you got yourself tuned out of it, so to speak, and you maybe not hear them, or you don't want to hear them, but you can go in a room and just meditate and open up that door in your mind, and they'll know it. I found out a long time ago when I was quite young that I had a little door in my brain that when it was closed, they knew it was my time. And when the little door was open, it was their time, and they could come and speak to me. And just go in there and meditate. And just let them know that you're there, and they can feel free to speak to you or whatever.
Right.
And you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to pick up on them.
Aaron is asking, Why do spirits get stuck in houses or rooms? Why can't they leave?
Well, I think a lot of times some of the spirits are probably residual. In other words, it's like a camera shooting a film in front of you or something. It's a ghost type thing, and they can't leave that way. Other times, I think they don't want to leave. I know that sometimes they, like in the 1800s, they built that house. And they died in that house, and they just don't want to leave. They still feel that house is theirs. They're not going to. Other times, too, there might be a bad entity in that house and won't let them leave. I've heard of that thing happening, too, where there's an evil spirit in the house, and they're like collecting spirits, human spirits. For what purpose, I have no idea, but that spirit won't let them leave the house, and they're there, and they can't leave. The only way you can help them is by getting rid of the evil spirit that's holding them in the house. But that's the only reason why I know they wouldn't be able to leave.
Okay, let's get to another question here from our audience here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll go to our YouTube chat, and where did it go here? There it is. Greco over in Toronto has a great Greek restaurant. Still hasn't bought me dinner yet, though. He is asking, is the astral plane and spirit realm the same thing?
I think it is, only if you're in that realm with them, when you're projected there. The astral projection itself is not any dimension of any kind. You use that as like a bus or Uber or something, or something like that to get to that place where you're at. But once you're there, you're in the same realm as the spirit that's there. I know I was there with my grandfather. Since they didn't have any time there, they came and got me at night. But when I came back in the morning and got up at the time I was supposed to get up. But I could have been there a year. I could have been there 5 years, 20 years, because they have no time. And because of that, I wouldn't age. I wouldn't show any age on me. And they brought me back to the time I was supposed to be back in bed. And that's what they did. That's the reason why I have memory of so much stuff. They even showed me glimpses of the earth, what's going to happen when the end times are here and stuff. They didn't tell me. They told me about climate change also. They didn't tell me this before because, well, they told me that what's done is done. Mankind has ruined the earth, and there's no way that mankind's going to fix it back. It's just too late, and we just have to sit back and fasten our seatbelts and enjoy the ride, I guess, because there's no way we're going to be able to correct this. And they showed me some of these things. They showed me where there's going to be rain where there wasn't rain before, floods where there was no floods before. They showed me where there was big forests, but the forest was dying because they were not getting any rain. And there was droughts and famine and all this stuff going on at that time. And the world is going to be changing, and it's going to be changing very quickly, and it's going to be changing to a very far out state. The earth is going to be like on the edge. And I could tell you some more things, but I don't think I will on this show. But just remember, no matter what the politicians tell you, climate change is real, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's too late now. But, they showed me a lot of things. But anyway.
All right. Well, let's sneak in. We got about 3 minutes here. Let's sneak in a question from Lexi, who is asking, do our spirits look for another physical body when our current one expires?
No. Not unless some of those earthly spirits, they've been here so long on Earth, they can go into your body. But most of them, no. They can't and they will not. But I've heard of some that does. I've never personally seen anything like that, but I've heard of them. The best thing to do if you're going to go ghost hunting or something like that is to protect yourself with a veil or something around you, placing it by prayer or whatever around you, a blessing, and keep it where those spirits cannot jump into your body. But I think a lot of times when somebody's judged crazy because of the things that they do, is I think a lot of times they're just possessed. I think a lot of times they're possessed, and that's the reason why they're not necessarily crazy. They're just doing the things that spirit beckons them to do, and that's because that spirit's inside their body, and they need it cast out. But that. I hope I answered your question. But most generally, spirits, the good spirits, when you leave your body, you don't go running around looking for another body to jump into. You usually go to where you're supposed to go. And if you're supposed to go into the light, then you go into the light. And that's where most of them go from this earth. The other part that's really bad, like Hitler and his cohorts after World War II, went into that place where I was at that I called hell. But it's a dimension that you wouldn't want to be in. But anyway, I hope I answered your question.
I think you did. I think you did. You know, we have about 40 seconds left before we have to go to break here at the top of the hour. You know, how often are you bugged by spirit? Like, is this something where in the middle of the night you can get woken up?
Well, like I said, I got a little door in my brain that I close, and they usually leave me alone. But yes, they have woke me up at night, and they can, if they're very determined, they want to talk to me, they can wake me up. But usually, no, I haven't had that happen too often.
I guess you're one of the lucky ones then. I guess you are.
Yeah.
My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. For the next half hour, we have Alan Wright. We're talking everything paranormal, spiritual, mediumship tonight on the mighty SOR. Then at the bottom of the hour, we got the SOR News Wire, and we have the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned as we have a plethora of Spaced Out Radio left for you in hour number 3 next. All right, you just sit tight. I'm just going to run my dogs out, okay?
Okay.
Out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Stacy with the Experience Support Association, otherwise known as TESS. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences with SOR sightings. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a sightlines report at the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Russell. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some famous organization. Our goal is always to then you give those items to friends who are involved in the show. To become a donor to Space Out Radio, it's a charity. Buy a charity.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefucked?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there. The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on. Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best-rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world.
All right, my friend, I'm back.
Okay. Dave, I was wondering, would it be possible for me to give my information to your listeners?
Of course.
You know, I do readings and healings, and that would be a big boost for me, I think, too, if I could do that.
Of course you can. Of course.
Okay, great. I'll do it when we come back on. And...
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you could do that.
I didn't want to do it if I was stepping on anybody's toes or anything like that. Yeah, my wife has been nagging me.
Yes, of course you can. Of course you can.
Okay, great. How much time we got?
We've got about just over a minute here.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, my friend, hold on for a couple of seconds here. We got about 40 seconds.
Okay.
20 seconds. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? For all of your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Topodiment. Topodiment is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Alan Wright. He has a bunch of books on Amazon. He's an author, intuitive, medium, wears many hats, but still has time to help people. Alan, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back again.
Got a question for you. How can people get a hold of you in case they want a reading, they want information?
Okay. I do readings. I do readings for $25 a session. They usually last about an hour. I've had them last up to 2 hours before. But anyway, I also do healings for $25 a session also. And they're a little bit different because they're spiritual blessings. So I can do them long distance over the telephone, or I can do them right at home in my bedroom and do them from there. But anyway, you can text me at 435-590-1573. You can only text, though, because my phone will throw out anything that's not on my contact list. Or you can email me, if you want, at paperback35 @yahoo.com. Now, you can set up for reading sessions or healings and stuff through my text or through my email address, and we can get together and set a time or a day. Also on Sundays, Barbara Patron and myself and Lori is on a podcast. We're all hosts on a podcast called Crossover Connections, and it's we talk, we chat a little bit, and then we also do readings on that and healings also. So if you wanted a free reading, you could try to get it on Sunday. It's podcast starts 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's about it, I think. Yeah, but Barbara Patron, she's really good medium. She's really she can tell you what you had for breakfast, I think, in the morning. She's so good at it. But anyway, we do give free readings on that program. So you could, it's Blog Talk Radio, by the way.
Very cool. Very cool. In regards to the way mediumship works and the way you're able to communicate with those on the other side, does it happen to be something that is very open and vivid to you? Do you get a lot of pictures? Do you get a lot of visions? Or is it just audio?
No, I get pictures. It used to be just audio, it feelings. But now I get pictures and feelings. And a lot of times the pictures are in color, just like I told you that I was looking at a brown dog, a dark brown dog. And you said, yes, you had one. And I saw that brown dog. And but I do see things in color. And that's how I do it now. And like I said, if I keep getting stronger in my abilities, I don't know how much stronger I can get, but if I do, it'll be quite a thing, I think. They can tell me things too, whereby I'll have two or three of them talking to me at the same time. It's like, shut up, be quiet. I got this one person talking to me. I need quiet. Become an MC or something at a meeting or something. But anyway, any other questions?
Oh, well, there's lots of questions. Do you ever have do you have a story or a memory of speaking to spirit that really profoundly touched you in a way that was very emotional, very strong? You know, maybe it was someone who died accidentally and couldn't be found, or maybe it was the spirit of someone who was murdered, or what have you. Have you ever had that situation?
Yes, I have. And I've had several readings that I've done where I had tears running down my face as I was giving the reading because I was feeling what they were feeling and I was seeing what they were seeing. And I gave a reading to a lady just a few days ago. Her grandson died in a terrific accident, him and his mother. The only thing is his mother survived, but he didn't. I believe that's the way the story goes. But anyway, he came to about 2 or 3 days before I did the reading and told me that his grandmother was having problems, not financially, but she was stressed out at work and everything. She was having problems that way. He also told me that she was lonely and he was worried about her. He was saying all these things about her. And he came to me twice during that 2 or 3 day period and was telling me that he knew that I communicated with her. And so I called her. I texted her, actually, and told her that I was in contact with her grandson. And I said, I think maybe you should schedule a session with me so he can tell you what he wants to tell you. And so she did. She texted me back, scheduled a session when we got right to it. And the grandson came immediately. The minute I answered the phone, he was right there. And he was telling me to tell her things. And he was telling her, you know, he wanted her happy, and that he knew that she was stressed out and everything because of work. And she says, you know, I was stressed out and feeling bad. She said, but I'm all done with that now. I just ended that yesterday or something like that. And she says, it's funny that you know that. And I said, well, he's telling me. I didn't know it. But anyway, then he was telling her that he was upset because she was lonely and that she needed a friend. And she said, well, she had just broken up with her boyfriend of 10 years, 11 years or something like that. And she was lonely, and she would be open to a relationship, a long-term relationship. And her grandson said that this one was going to be forever, that she was going to marry and settle down, and this one would be forever. And just the way he was and the reaction to the reading and everything, I had tears coming down my face. I mean, it was very personal to her, and everything he talked about was very personal for her, and she was crying too. I could tell when she was talking. But he told me something in that reading. He said that he was a special spirit on this earth, and that he didn't have to stay as long as some people did. He only came and spent some time, and then he left. And that was all part of the plan of whatever. But he said that he has special abilities now that the other spirits didn't have. And I didn't really understand what he meant. I knew he was a strong spirit. He came on strong. But after the reading, we hung up the phone and everything, which, by the way, lasted for over an hour. I had to take the dogs outside and walk them, and he was still with me. He was right beside me as I took the dogs out. And when we got outside, he told me, he says, look at the sky to your south. So I had to turn around and look southward. There was a big old rainbow in the sky, and there had been no rain, and it didn't look like a storm. There was just a big old rainbow. I'd never seen anything like that, and it was just pretty close to me. And then he says, I did that for you because you made my grandmother happy. I thought that was so good. And I didn't even know they could do that, but they can actually basically control the weather and stuff, I guess. He said he did that for me because I had made his grandmother happy. And then he left. He was just like a streak out of there. So that's one of my stories that I have about them communicating with me and seeing colors and stuff like that. But, yeah, he was really good at it. The first one I had, he came to me while she's my insurance, very nice insurance agent, actually. And we met her at a restaurant. And the first time we ever met, she didn't even know who I was. And I was sitting across the table from her. And all of a sudden, he came to me then. And his name was Stephen. And he told me who he was, and I didn't know what to do because I didn't prepare her for it. But anyway, I told her that I was a medium, and I could do readings and stuff. I could give you messages from spirits, And I told her that I said, I think I have your grandson here. And you should have saw the look on her face. She says, well, my grandson's dead. And I said, well, yeah, I know. He's sitting right beside me here. He's in spirit. She says, really? And then she started crying. She said he was in that car accident about a year before. And she said she could feel him at times, but this was the first time that anybody that they could hear him or he was speaking to them. And I told her that I was a medium and that he was there and he wanted to say some things to her. And one of the things he wanted to tell her was don't blame his mother, not to be mad at his mother. Apparently she thought that the accident was caused by his mother, or, you know, the mother was to blame for the accident, and then she was blaming her for it. So he didn't want her to do that. He wanted her to forgive his mother for whatever she did, because she was his mother, and she didn't do it on purpose. So that reading right there changed her life, because she was going to go through life carrying this grudge towards this woman that her grandson didn't even want her to do. He wanted her to forgive this woman for what happened. It wasn't her fault. And I thought that was pretty special. And all the ways through this, you know, I got tears coming down my face. She was crying outright, crying. And she'd never been to a medium before, you know. And so that was quite special. And she gets readings now from me quite often, about every 3 or 4 months. And when I called her this last time about what her wanted me to tell her, she said she was just about ready to pick up a phone and call me, because she had a feeling that she needed a reading. And I said, well, that was your grandson trying to tell you to call me, but you didn't take the message very well, so you came to me. But anyway, I have very good readings, and then sometimes I have some bad readings. But
well, I think that's allowed. I think that's allowed. Question coming from Mondak in our chat room. Can you find information about a person via a picture?
Yes, I have. I sure can. I've done it a few times. That's my psychic ability that's coming out. I can tell people about their relatives that might be like a grandmother or grandfather that they never met. I can tell them that. I can tell them what that person liked. A lot of times the person will come to me that I'm talking about, and that really helps out then, because then they tell me what to say. But yeah, I can do that.
How do you read energy? How do you do that? How do you read energy or read a person by a photo?
It's strictly feeling. And I'll start to go one way, and all of a sudden I get a feeling like, no, it's not that. And then I have to go another way. But about 90% of the time I'm right on what I say or what I tell the people about their ancestor or whatever. But it comes to me through a feeling, if their spirit didn't come to me. Like I said, sometimes or a lot of times that spirit comes to me, and then they tell me what to say.
Right.
That's about it. Yeah.
But can you feel the energy of the person, whether they're deceased or alive?
Yeah, a lot of times I can. Yeah. There's been a couple times where they fooled me, but yeah, a lot of times I can. You know, one time I got a reading from this one spirit came to me. I was given a reading to this woman, and I said, I've got your mother's spirit here. She said, that's impossible. My mother's not dead. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. Her spirit's right here with me now, and she's talking to me. And I said, is your mother sick? She said, well, she has Alzheimer's, and she's in bed. She doesn't have too long to live. And that's when I found out that people that has Alzheimer's and stuff like that, and memory loss and stuff, their spirits are allowed to leave their bodies for short periods of time, just to give the spirit a break from being in there and in that body. And on this case here, she was on break, and she wanted to talk to her daughter and tell her some things. And that was very special for her because she didn't think her mother knew what's going on or whatever.
Right.
But I told her some things about how they were taking care of her in that nursing home and everything else.
Right. I got a question. I got a question coming from Nikki here. As we only got about 3 minutes left with you tonight. Nikki is asking, have you ever talked to victims of crime that are deceased?
No. Well, it's hard to say. I had a dream one time. I don't know how many people know of this, but there was a crime investigator reporter for the Arizona Republic back in the 1970s or 80s. And he was killed, and his car blew up. And he was killed, and he lingered for about 10 days in a coma. But anyway, I had a dream when I came home from work one morning. I went to bed, and I had a dream that, and this opened up again. It was more like a vision. But there was two doctors walking down the hall, and they were talking about this patient who had died. And in the conversation, I realized that it was that reporter that had died from that car bomb. And they were discussing the case about that. Anyway, who killed him was part of a gang-like type thing situation in Phoenix at that time. And but his spirit didn't come to me. But I caught like the tail end of it there. I thought I knew that he had died and had passed before anybody else did, and even in the press. And I thought that was pretty special myself. But talking to somebody that has committed the crime in spirit, no, I haven't yet. No, other than that one spirit in hell that called me there. That's the only one. He said he committed murder. And he was in a good place for that. But I have never talked to a spirit that has committed any other crimes. At least they never told me they have. And I didn't pick up on it.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question.
Once again, we want to say thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We really do appreciate learning all about you and your stories, Alan. Do us a favor, tell everybody where they can find your books.
Go to Amazon.com/author/Wright Allen. And that should take you to where all my books are. I've got 8 of them published. I've got another one that's going to be coming out here shortly. And I've started another one. But anyway, there's 8 of them at Amazon.com/author/Wright Allen.
Very
cool.
Get
my book there.
Very cool. Alan, thank you so much once again for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We really do appreciate it, and you taking the time. And all the best to you and your wife and family during the Christmas season.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, Dave, and your family, and all the listeners out there.
All right.
Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you so much. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. We got some great news coming up here on Spaced Out Radio. Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave, for inviting me. I'm sorry, I'm kind of hoarse tonight.
That's so great. We'll give you a few. We'll give you a few claps for being awesome. How about that?
Well, thank you, buddy. But yeah, have a nice holiday. Have a nice Christmas.
All right.
And keep in touch.
Will do.
I like your show. I really like it. Your listeners are really cool. I like their questions.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they're good people.
Anyway.
They're good people.
Okay.
All right, my friend.
You take care, Dave.
You take care. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Just a nice, wholesome dude. Nice, wholesome dude. I like him. Nice guy. Got some good news coming up. Captain Shirk was working her butt off today. Excuse me. Hey, UFO Knot, how you doing? Oh, I'm awake. I'm awake. Craving an orange, though. Love the mandarin oranges. Love them. What UFO pic? What UFO pic? I can't see. Oh, you mean the one with that was taken out of the Hornet? The balloon. Duh. Well, the info Tim was getting, and you know what? Sometimes that happens, and I'll defend Tim on that one. The info that he was getting, that came from a source that gave it to him. Obviously, it also shows that somebody was playing a game with him, and Tim was quick to recognize that as well. And, you know, that still doesn't make up for, well, you have to publish it. You have to, because at the time, you're going on the word of the source, right? You're going on the word of the source. So that's why he published it. But, I mean, when people looked into it a little bit more, all right, that's where, you know, sometimes you get some egg on your face. It's okay. Hey, Eva, I thought you're crossing the border to come find me. It's a UFO Knot. It's one of those catch-22s, man, where he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. But I do know, in talking to some people that I know, that there is a major, major photograph of a black triangle coming out of the ocean. That I do know. And the person that I heard it from, it works in Washington, D.C. So that, I haven't seen the photo. I have a couple people who have. I'm sure Senator Mark Warner and all of that. Right now, they're, oh goodness, so much to say with so little time. Do me a favor. Ask me this after the show, okay? And I will be able to help you out with that, okay? At least you are. All right, here we go. this show every week. I kind of like it, and I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter @SpacedOutRadio and on Instagram @SpacedOutRadioShow. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? Back end of every show we get to the weird, the wacky, and sometimes the mysterious. Ooh. Get this. On a recent podcast by a gentleman named Tyler Cowen, John Brennan, the former director of the CIA, has come out and said that we need to start paying attention to UFOs. Yes. Brennan stated that the videos by the United States Navy were eyebrow-raising, and that the best way to navigate these uncertain waters would be to ensure that you have as much data as possible in terms of visuals and also different types of technical collection of sensors that you have at the time. Brennan went on to say that it is paramount to the investigate whether various weather conditions could explain these phenomena, or if any other ground-based phenomena could help explain what was being seen in the sky. The videos, known as Go Fast, Tic Tac, and Gimbal, were released by the To the Stars Academy just 3 years ago. One major player in the video release was former head of ATIP, Lou Elizondo. Now, Cowan followed up Brennan's comments on the Navy pilot's videos by asking point blank, what do you think is the most likely hypothesis to explaining these? Brennan replied that he did not know, adding, I think it's a bit presumptuous and arrogant for us to believe that there are no other life forms anywhere in the entire universe. What that might be is subject to a lot of different views. He continued, but I think some of the phenomena we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained and might, in fact, be some sort of, or some type of phenomena that is the result of something that we don't yet understand, and that we could involve some type of activity that some may say constitutes a different form of life. Brennan's appeal to his self-described agnosticism admittedly prevents him from being able to say definitively that these anomalous sightings are from out of this world or not. He noted that it is important to continue discounting certain types of possibilities in an effort to identify and authenticate these aerial sightings. Very cool from a powerful man. Scientists may have detected radio emissions from a planet orbiting a star beyond our sun for the first time. Oh, maybe they've found aliens. Yeah, maybe they've found aliens. Who knows? The astronomers behind the new research used a radio telescope in the Netherlands to study 3 different stars known to host exoplanets. The researchers compared what they saw to observations of Jupiter, diluted as if being seen from a star system dozens of light years away. And one star system stood out, Tau Bootes, which contained at least one exoplanet. If the detection holds up, it could open up the door to do better understanding the magnetic fields of exoplanets and therefore exoplanets themselves, the researchers hope. We present one of the first hints of detecting an exoplanet in the radio realm, Jake Turner, an astronomer at Cornell University and lead author of the new search. We make the case for an emission by the planet itself from the strength and polarization of the radio signal and the planet's magnetic field. It is compatible with theoretical conditions. Oh, isn't that nice? Why don't you just admit that you got aliens, man? Why can't we admit it? You picked up a radio signal. It was some sort of weird techno vibe type music. You got aliens. It's just easier. A Louisiana man who was arrested and sentenced to life in prison for selling $20 of marijuana to undercover cops when he was homeless, has been freed from prison. Fate Winslow was released from Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola on Wednesday and was on his way back home after serving 12 years of a life sentence. I'm so happy to get out, Winslow said. A life sentence for 2 bags of weed? I never thought something like that could happen. Winslow was sentenced under the state's repeat offender law. His case has garnered attention as the Louisiana wrestles with criminal justice issues and over-incarceration. Winslow was approached by undercover cops in Shreveport in 2008, and they asked him where they could get some marijuana. Winslow borrowed a bike, went and found some marijuana, and came back to give it to the officers, who then gave him $5 so he could buy some food, according to his attorneys. Winslow had already been convicted on 3 previous nonviolent crimes stretching from when he was 17 years old to when he was 36, making him susceptible to the state's repeat offender law. The Innocence Protection Group in New Orleans took up the case, appealing his life sentence on the grounds of ineffective assistance of counsel. He was eventually resentenced to time served. The director of the Innocence Project New Orleans, G. Park, said Winslow received an obscenely excessive sentence given his life circumstances and crime, and today we are correcting that unconstitutional, inhumane sentence. I wonder how many more people who are in prison for marijuana, as it becomes more and more legalized, are going to be released. I just wonder. This probably isn't what people mean when they talk about chicken legs. Bad pun intended. Freddie Campion, content director at Headspace, reignited an old meme about KFC's Colonel Sanders in a tweet when he wrote that his wife was convinced his bow tie is actually a tiny stick figure underneath a large head. Very interesting. My wife just confessed that her entire childhood she thought Colonel Sanders' bow tie was his whole body, and now I can't stop seeing a tiny stick body every time I look at him, he tweeted with a pair of images of the famous pitchman. The idea of the bow tie actually being a stick figure has made the rounds on the internet before, but the tweet has still generated an extra-large bucket-sized response, garnering over 300,000 likes and prompting people to share some hidden images they see in the logos. Well, of course they do. And, ones like Jack in the Bee Fish. Someone wrote alongside of Jack in the Box where the O and X look like they combined to make a fish. Well, yeah, they kind of do. Either way, this is what we're talking about. Pareidolia. I look at Tired of Rom and Derek on Twitter, Mr. Skeptic, and the like, and they're all going to be like, this is just pareidolia. Stupidity at its best. It's a bow tie, not a stick figure. However, we do know with Wendy's that the word mom was made on her collar. If you go and look at it, Wendy's logo, it is mom, because Dave, the creator of Wendy's, was actually an orphan. Yes. So that's why they kind of snuck mom in there. Yeah, it all goes into the whole Mandela effect. Look, it's a bow tie. It's not, Colonel Sanders' body. Let's just forget that. Forget that. It's easier. It's easier that way. All right. Let's move on. An unidentified member of the U.S. Space Force was desperate to get his hands on a Sony PlayStation 5. In fact, he was 30 minutes late for a fitness lesson because he was scoping out deals at a nearby Target to snag one. The airman showed no sign of regret for his actions. His response when he was reprimanded by his superior officer, YOLO, you only live once. PS5, letters of discipline, that's a spanking. An official letter is excoriate. I don't even know how that word is punishing him. You were late to work and insinuated to your supervisor that buying a PlayStation was more important to you than the disciplinary consequences of your action, read the letter of reprimand. Your actions are an extreme deviation from the professionalism expected of you as a member of the armed forces. The letter gets even better. The Space Force member ended up being busted down a rank from senior airman to airman first class. It's still unclear whether he was able to get the PS5. Coincidentally, the news comes just a day after Space Force trounced other branches of the military in a Call of Duty tournament. Let the guy have his PlayStation 5. It's Christmas. Look, I realize with the military, you have to be up front, up close, personal, on duty, always serious, because you never know what's going to happen in this world. But it's a PS5. Those are hard to get right now. Sad story coming out of South Africa, where farmer Marius Els was found dead in a river after being repeatedly bitten by a huge animal, his pet named Humphrey, who's a hippo. Yes. A man mauled to death by his pet hippo, who he'd previously described as like a son to me. Marius was found dead in a river after being repeatedly bitten by the huge animal, who weighs more than a ton. Mr. Els, from the Free State province in South Africa, had adopted the hippo named Humphrey, and footage of him riding him went viral earlier this year. He died on Sunday after being mauled and dragged into the Vaal River close to his home by the 6-year-old animal. The 40-year-old previously said that Humphrey responded to his calls and would enjoy playing with him. It's a little bit dangerous, but I trust him with my heart that he will not harm anybody. I could swim with him. I could go in the water. He allows me to get on his back, and I ride him like a horse. He swims with me. The farmer then added, he's like a son to me. There's a relationship between me and Humphrey, and that's what some people don't understand. They think you can only have a relationship with dogs, cats, and domestic animals. Well, that was proven wrong, wasn't it? But I have a relationship with the most dangerous animal in Africa, and now you're a statistic. From friendship to statistic. Ambulance Services spokesperson Jeffrey Wick said paramedics responded to the scene to find that a man had been bitten several times by the animal. It had also been immersed in the river for an unknown period of time. Humphrey, who is 6, was found as a calf and had been raised as a pet in Free State. Mr. Els, a former Army major, would even brush the hippo's teeth, saying he had built a bond with him. Well, apparently that bond wasn't worth a crap to Humphrey. No, not at all. Wisconsin State Patrol is warning festive drivers about excessively decorating their cars after a trooper pulled over a vehicle decked out in Christmas lights. The State Patrol posted a photo on Facebook that showed the car in Oshkosh covered in colorful Christmas lights. A trooper of the Northeast region recently stopped this car. Although she gave them credit for creativity, she advised the driver it is not legal to operate on the road. The driver, 18-year-old Tyler Camels, said he was inspired by similarly decorated cars he saw online. At first, I saw it on a YouTube video from like 5 years ago. Some people doing it. Camels said the trooper let him go with a warning. She pretty much said that she really liked the lights, but she was pulling me over for the lights. The teenager said now he is receiving many requests for his festive vehicle to pay visits to neighborhoods and nursing homes. He said the lights will remain wrapped around the vehicle until after the holidays, but won't be illuminated on public roads. I don't know how I feel about that. Don't know. How do you feel about that? Let us know on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio or on Facebook or our Instagram page. Here's a nice one. Very nice one. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Why? Because police in Wisconsin say an honest stranger who found $3,000 on a sidewalk saved Christmas for a family by helping return the cash. The Wausau Police Department said a resident walking in the city found a bundle containing the $3,000, multiple Christmas gift envelopes, and a bank receipt. The resident turned the money over to police, who then contacted the institution listed on the receipt. We were then able to work with the awesome folks at People's State Bank to get the money returned to the proper owner and ensure Christmas wasn't ruined after all, police stated. And for this awesome integrity, we provided the finder with a gift card to a local business to help brighten his day as well. That's humanity, people. That is humanity. How would you turn in the money? Be honest. Would you? I would. Man, I've been broke at Christmas. It sucks. Losing what may be the entire savings, I would totally turn it in. Totally. I'm not just saying that because I'm the dude at the back end of the microphone. No, but seriously, why ruin someone's holiday? It's not your money. Good on that citizen for doing that. A goat, a sheep, and 3 lambs. What do they have in common? How about wreaking havoc in a Turkish city? Yes, the animals paid a surprise visit to a Turkish city hall and trapped municipal workers inside the building. Nevershire Municipality tweeted a video that showed the group of animals wandering around just outside the municipal building and chasing after security guards who attempted to make them leave. We have been captured by 1 sheep, 1 goat, and 3 lambs, the tweet said. Animal experts were summoned to the scene and rounded up the aggressive gang. No word if they were charged or carrying any weapons. The sheep, goat, and lambs were taken to a rescue facility, Animal Town, before being reunited with their owner. Well, you got to wonder, how did they get out? How did they get out? Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages and then read your responses on the air. Because why? We love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. I'm at the dentist. What do you like about the dentist? I was seriously at the dentist today. Brand new dentist. My old dentist lives like 4 hours away. Not going to him anymore. It's just too far of a commute. But I can tell you this. I like the guy. How's this for... This is how redneck my town is. My dentist shows up not in any type of dentist garb or anything. Nope. He's got a cowboy shirt, blue jeans, a belt buckle the size of a hubcap, and cowboy boots on. Yes, his name is Orlo as well. Fantastic dude. Been a dentist for like 50 years. Awesome, awesome dude. Yes, but I had great teeth. They were surprised at how nice my teeth were. There you go. Showing all you in radio. Cheese. There you go. Anyways, dentistry. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's start with Bondak. The drugs after a major procedure, routine stuff, nothing, nada, Nick, Azer, Ez, Heck, Narsa. Graham, do you still get a lollipop, Dave, or is the assistant pretty and funny with good jokes? Haunted History. Like that, they are all dressed like aliens now. Not at my shop. Toronto, UFO Toronto. I was at the dentist today. Not much I do like about it, but I could tell you one thing that's super annoying. When the dentist talks to you, how are you supposed to answer when you have a drill in your mouth and a suction thing down your throat? I just ended up making some incomprehensible noises. So did I. Linda doesn't like a damn thing about the dentist. John, he goes, the only thing I love is the exit. BB Brennan, what's the best time to go to the dentist? 2:30. Tooth hurty. Okay. All right, moving on. Tooth hurty. Hilda, nothing. I'll be there at 2 p.m. Ron, the gas. Last time I was there, I broke his chair. He started pulling out the Novocaine. Wasn't strong enough of a dose, so he stopped with my tooth hanging half out. Chris doesn't like anything about the dentist. Dana, that's a tough one. Debbie, not a damn thing, Dave. Only if they can relieve nerve pain immediately. Cindy loves to get the gas. Heidi, I once fell asleep during a root canal, so for me, clearly, the drugs are the best thing. Lori, absolutely nothing. Ultimate terrorists had so many bad experiences that I am now glad I don't have to go anymore. I got fake teeth. I would not wish the dentist that seems to be the devil's spawn on anyone. Kara, I love my teeth cleaned. Ron, gagging on cotton balls. Oh, I hate cotton balls. Son of a gun. I don't know what I hate more, cotton balls or styrofoam or soccer. One of those three, if not all combined, that is the spawn of hell right there. Gabe, not a damn thing. Jen, coming out of there with a clean checkup and clean teeth. Alex, the dentist made me a criminal because I once went to the dentist and couldn't afford to pay for it. So after the procedure was done, I got up and ran out the door and kept running. And legend has it, I've been running ever since. I like that. Kimberly, not much except getting free dental supplies. My dentist always gives me a new toothbrush, floss, mouthwash and toothpaste, and sometimes sugar-free gum. Bernadette says, mine's looking good. Don, I could take my mask off. Scott, when you leave? Davey, I am at my dentist on Monday. He is a cyclist like me. We talk about cycling. Reverend Keith, it's their professionalism that I respect. Science Bob has no clue what he likes. Little Marky Spender, that it's you there, Dave, and not me. Danny, nothing. I'm frightened of the dentist. Tara, when you get to go for a ride in their rocket chair. Dorothy, nothing. I'm not afraid. Just know it's not my favorite pastime. Little Kirky, when he hits a nerve in my root with the needle. I know that's sarcasm, Kirk. Mike, when you have a poor dental hygiene like myself, the dentist can be a blessing all in itself, especially when they get me out of extreme pain. John, I brush and floss daily, and I love getting my teeth clean and polished. Just feels so good having healthy teeth. Nate, absolutely nothing. Sooner watch Hallmark. Chris, nitrous oxide. Krista, many things, because pain in your mouth is like pain like no other. And, of course, I get shiny, clean teeth. Thank you to everybody on the Thought of the Day. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news, and Alan Wright for being our guest tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, on YouTube, Spreaker, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, Space Travelers Club, on our website, and of course all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But don't worry, my friends, tomorrow we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yeah, we got room for them too. Good night.